The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone present to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the absence of clergy, let us bow our heads in a moment of silent reflection and/or prayer. Reading of the journal.
In Senate, Tuesday, May 4th, 2021, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The Journal of Monday, May 3rd, 2021 was read and approved. On motion, the Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the journal stands approved as read. Presentation of petitions. Messages from the Assembly. The Secretary will read.
Senator Passard moves to discharge from the Committee on Children and Families, Assembly Bill number 3496, and substituted for the identical Senate Bill 54, third reading calendar 827.
Substitution so ordered.
Senator Ryan moves to discharge from the Committee on Energy and Telecommunications, Assembly Bill number 6261, and substituted for the identical Senate Bill 5992, third reading calendar 853.
Substitution so ordered. Messages from the Governor. Reports of standing committees. Reports of select committees. Communications and reports from state officers. Motions and resolutions. Senator Gianaris.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, let's take up the reading of the calendar, please.
The Secretary will read.
Calendar number 252, Senate Print 1311A by Senator Gorin, an act to amend the Public Authorities Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Senator Gorin to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. The AARP in the Public Utility Law Project found that PSEG used lobbyists who lobbied the Long Island Power Authority for rate increases. Why'd they do this? Well, to raise electric bills of Long Island's 1.1 million electric customers. And then the PSEG had the audacity to charge the customers of Long Island for these lobbying costs. Why should the people of Long Island be paying for this lobbying? At minimum, customers must be informed that they're actually paying for this lobbying activity and that it may go against their best interests and that they are funding these bills. And of course, Long Island's rates are among the highest in the country. This legislation will bring LIPA and PSEG to the same standards that every other utility is subject to. They will have to disclose their lobbying activity, their advertising, and their marketing activity. And this will protect customers from nonsensical expenditures that contribute to making PSG Long Island and LIPA's electricity the most expensive in the United States of America. So I vote in the affirmative, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Senator Gorin to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 424, Senate Print 1752 by Senator Borrello, an act to amend the highway law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Senator Borrello to explain his vote.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to start off by thanking the leadership, both Republican and Democrat, for bringing this bill forward. I think we can all agree that taking landmarks like highways and dedicating them to our heroes that have served our country so bravely is a noble effort, and I thank everyone involved in bringing this bill here today. Today, we are passing a law here to declare portions of Route 86 in the town of Randolph in Cattaraugus County as the Sergeant David Lockwood Memorial Bridge. Sergeant Lockwood was a native of Salamanca who graduated from Randolph Central Schools and attended Jamestown Community College. In 1966, he was drafted to serve in the Vietnam conflict, where he served his country proudly with great honor. You know, my father is also a Vietnam veteran, so I'm aware of the unimaginable hardships that were faced by our servicemen in that war. Sergeant Lockwood, like countless other young Americans, was dedicated to the mission and to serving his nation. He received several accolades, including the Good Conduct Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, the Combat Infantryman's Badge, the Expert Rifle Badge, the Bronze Service Medal with oak leaf clusters, and the Silver Star with 2 oak leaf clusters. Upon returning home, he returned to school, graduating from the Rochester Institute of Technology. He worked as an engineer until he passed away in 2018, leaving behind his wife Patricia and 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren. Now today's particularly interesting because the bridge on this road that will be part of the naming of this route was actually a project that Sergeant Lockwood worked on as an engineer. He actually had a hand in building the bridge that will now bear his name. So God bless his service to our nation in the military, and God bless his service to the community as someone who built roads and bridges that will live on long beyond his own life. So thank you so much again, and I want to thank not only Sergeant Lockwood for his dedicated service, but every single member of our military. May God bless all of our service members and veterans, and may God bless America. Thank you.
Senator Borrello to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 424, voted in the negative, Senator Brisport, ayes 59, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 622, Senate Print 4248 by Senator Skoufis, enactment of domestic relations law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 661, Senate Print 2987A by Senator Parker, an act to declare racism a public health crisis and to establish a working group to promote racial equity throughout the state.
Read the last section.
Section 8, this act shall take effect on the 30th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Parker to explain his vote.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I rise to explain my vote, and I'm voting aye on this very important bill. This actually is, in my sense, one of the most important bills I've had the honor to carry and to pass. It's a bill that declares racism a public health crisis here in the state of New York. W.E.B. Du Bois is famous for saying that the problem of the 20th century is going to be the color line. And there he referred to the problems of racism and the conflicts and issues that it's going to create in our society. And not only was he right about the 20th century, he was also right about the 21st century. Racism is the original sin of this country, as great as it is. And certainly New York State is no different and has its hand in that same history of racism. Originally created as an anthropological concept in order to justify the enslavement of African people, has spread and been dealt with in the context of people who are Latino, people who are Asian, people who are gay and lesbian, transgender, to Muslims and other kind of religious minorities. This notion that we should treat people differently, and not just differently on a hierarchy, right, where whites are at the top and everybody else is at the bottom, is the basis of what racism is. And it affects every aspect of people's lives. And certainly here in the context of the pandemic that we've been struggling through, we have seen that dynamic. We've seen it in terms of the disproportionate amount of deaths and infections that we've seen of COVID-19 amongst African Americans, Latinos, people who are Native American. We have seen it in the context of healthcare, housing. We've seen it in the context of police treatment of people. And certainly, obviously, the quintessential example in this moment is the murder of George Floyd at the hands of a police officer in Minneapolis. But certainly, New York has not been, New York's hands aren't clean when it comes to the kind of racism that we have seen from the police here in our great state. We have seen, again, access to services, access to transportation, access to education, all affected by the notion of racism. And due to racism, we see, for instance, the disproportionate murders of Black and Latino transgenders over the last year. I mean, just at a rate that really has created its own pandemic in our communities. And the harmful effects of racism is really all-encompassing. Racial inequality creates a poor quality life for everybody, not just the Blacks, Latinos, Asians, women, Muslims, gay and lesbian communities, LGBT community in general, but even creates a bad conditions for whites, because we really cannot be a free, open, and inclusive society that takes everybody into account until the least of those are being taken care of. And so we see that, for instance, studies have found that racism leads to higher maternal mortality rates for black women, who are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes. And certainly, through racial bias and racial animosity, black men are up to 3 times more likely to be killed by the police than white men. So this bill, which I was proud to sponsor and happy that we're bringing through the body today, first and perhaps most importantly, is a bill that formally acknowledges that racism is a public health crisis. And I think that's absolutely critical, because we really can't start addressing the issues in our society unless we first acknowledge them. And this bill first, and your vote on this bill, acknowledges those inequities. And then second, the bill creates a racial equity working group to study the pervasive effects of racism and provide corrective recommendations to this legislative body. And so again, I want to thank my colleagues for voting for this bill. Certainly want to thank our leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins, for her courage and leadership and always bringing the important issues to the floor of this body to make sure that we address them. This is just another example of that, and I vote aye on this bill. Thank you.
Senator Parker has been recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 661, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Boyle, Gallivan, Helming, Jordan, Lanza, Matera, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rath, Steck, and White. Ayes 48, nays 14.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 700, Senate Print 5991 by Senator Lanza, an act to amend the Public Authorities Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 30th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 734, Senate Print 960 by Senator Kruger, an act to amend the Agriculture and Markets Law.
Lay it aside.
Calendar number 735, Senate Print 1130 by Senator Gianaris, an act to amend the Agriculture and Markets Law and the General Business Law.
Read the last section.
Section 7, this act shall take effect 1 year after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Senator Gianaris to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an important proposal that we've passed before in the Senate that deals with something a lot of people are not necessarily familiar with. A lot of folks will walk down the street, down a retail strip in their neighborhoods, and see puppies dancing in the window, and they look cute as they're supposed to, and can't imagine there's anything wrong with it. What they don't know is where those animals are coming from and how they are treated at these mills throughout the country that are abusive to these animals, to their mothers, and the list of violations is long. There is hardly a retail pet shop that is not tainted by the puppy mill industry. In fact, in researching this proposal over the years, you can find violations, serious violations, from suppliers of just about every single one of these pet stores, and the violations would startle you and leave you aghast. Animals being euthanized by being shot in the head, being left in their own feces, complete disregard for the health of these animals, treating them as if they're some kind of mass production device as opposed to a living thing that deserves respect and care and will ultimately produce offspring that become members of people's families. What does this mean for the consumer in this situation? They are often left with pets with serious health problems because of the lack of proper breeding that then results in a lifetime of care and cost for these people who are trying to do the right thing and take care of an animal as part of their own families. This bill, importantly, would continue to allow responsible breeders to exist and for consumers to deal directly with those breeders. It simply cuts off what has become the puppy mill pipeline of irresponsible breeders producing animals that end up in these retail shops that get purchased by people. We should not be treating animals as if they are a commodity, as if they're a can of soup that we take off the shelf at the supermarket to buy. These are living things that deserve our respect and are beloved members of our families. And that's why this is an important proposal today. I thank my colleagues on both sides of the aisle who support it. And we're seeing some progress in the Assembly this year. Hopefully we get this enacted before the session is out. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Janaris to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Jackson to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. My colleagues, I rise to speak in favor of Senate Bill 1130 by Senator Janaris. Today, New York takes a step to shut down the puppy mill pipeline for good. We have passed this legislation in the past, but this pandemic has been exploited as puppy mill traffic animals into our states daily. I am a pet owner, my family and I. My staff and constituents are pet owners. But we are more than that. We are animal lovers, and they are members of our family. We take responsibility for our pets and must take responsibility from where they come from when so many remain in shelters awaiting adoption. This law comes with the collaboration of multiple animal welfare organizations and other advocates that have worked to educate communities of the recklessly inhumane puppy mill industry. Thanks to my colleague, Senator Janaris, for taking a stand against the cruel and deceptive industry. I vote aye, Mr. President.
Senator Jackson to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 735, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Griffo, Jordan, O'Mara, Ritchie, and Steck. Ayes 57, nays 5.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 736, Senate Print 4081A by Senator Hinchey, an act to amend the Agriculture and Markets Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 741, Senate Print 5231 by Senator Kavanaugh, an act in relation to directing the Department of Financial Services and the Division of Housing and Community Renewal.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 745, Senate Print 1368 by Senator Brooks, an act to amend the General Municipal Law.
There is a home rule message at the desk. Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 745, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Griffo, Obelracker, Ort, and Rath. Ayes 57, nays 5.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 773, Senate Print 6108A by Senator Thomas, an act relating to providing public awareness of COVID-19 programs and resources.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 784, Senate Print 2992 by Senator Harkam, an act to amend the executive law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 803, Senate Print 3706A by Senator Comrie, an act to amend the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 827, Assembly number 3496 by Assemblymember Hevesy, an act to amend the social services law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 829, Senate Print 5628 by Senator Bailey, an act to amend the social services law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 829, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Griffo, Helming, Jordan, Lanza, Martucci, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Sereno, Tedesco, and White. Ayes 50, nays 12.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 834, Senate Print 6196 by Senator Kruger, enactment of the Workers' Compensation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 834, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Griffo, O'Mara, Ort, and Rath. Ayes 58, nays 4.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 836, Senate Print 6266 by Senator Ramos, enactment of the Workers' Compensation Law and the Insurance Law.
Read the last section.
Section 6, this act shall take effect January 1st, 2022.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 836, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Jordan, Lanza, Martucci, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ritchie, Sereno, Steck, Tedesco, and White. Ayes 48, nays 14.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 839, Senate Print 4784A by Senator Mayer, enactment of the real property law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 840, Senate Print 6193A by Senator Gurnardez, enactment of the executive law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 853, Assembly number 6261 by Assemblymember Stern, enactment of the economic development law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed. Senator Gianaris, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Let's now move on to the controversial calendar, please.
The secretary will ring the bell. The secretary will read.
Calendar number 734, Senate Print 960 by Senator Kruger, enactment of the agriculture and markets law.
Senator Lanza, why do you rise?
Mr. President, would the sponsor yield for a couple of questions?
Will the sponsor yield?
Yes, I will, Mr. President.
The sponsor yields.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, could the sponsor tell us what this bill does?
Through you, Mr. President, this bill removes one word, serious, in line 3 of subdivision 1, so that it would read only as intentionally causes physical injury to a companion animal, wherein the current law has causes serious physical injury.
Mr. President, would the sponsor yield?
Will the sponsor yield?
Certainly.
The sponsor yields.
Through you, Mr. President, and what, if the person was found guilty of the crime described herein, what is the level of the crime?
Under current law or under the law after if we change it?
Through you, Mr. President, the bill before us.
Okay. It's such that if you were found guilty, you could be found guilty of a felony. So you would still have to establish the requisite intent to be found guilty, but since you're removing the term serious physical injury, language, the definition of, it would change the definition of aggravated cruelty to animals, which is a Class E felony, and would remain a Class E felony. So we're not increasing the penalty, we're in fact clarifying when a judge can determine that you could be found guilty of this crime and face a Class C felony, which could be an imprisonment of not more than 2 years and a fine of up to $5,000.
Mr. President, would the sponsor yield?
Will the sponsor yield?
Yes, sir.
The sponsor yields.
Through you, Mr. President. So the contact that would be covered by this legislation. If I could give a couple of hypotheticals. So for instance, if someone were to maliciously attack a dog and stab that dog, maim that dog, kill that dog, or somebody would torture a cat and put him in a cage, not feed him, not care for him, and let that cat sadly die. So those are the types of things that would be considered a felony under this legislation?
You have to establish intent to do that harm to the animal, but the dilemma without the fix in the law is right now the animal would basically have to die for the court to define it as falling into the felony category. So if you did all those terrible things to the animal, but somehow it didn't die, then you're facing a misdemeanor.
Or if it wasn't like.
The court might still determine that it was a felony, but we make it too difficult for courts to categorize terrible violence against animals because of that word serious. And if we remove serious, you still have to prove intent, still have to prove all these things happened, but you don't actually have to have a dead animal or a horribly physically maimed animal. And Mr. President, if I might also clarify, this is a growing problem in our society. Cruelty and abuse of animals is growing, and there's more and more research showing that allowing it to go on leads to violence towards children and even sociopathic violence to adults and murders. And so the district attorneys around the country have actually started to recognize the patterns of abuse and cruelty to animals as something to be watching and measuring when things then escalate, which unfortunately they do, to human beings. So this just doesn't happen. This does happen. And also for the record, if I'm found guilty of dog fighting, I can get $250,000 in fine and up to, I think, 7 years in prison. But in order to prove and also in dog fighting, the dog may be horribly, horribly treated, but they will still want it to live because they're making money off of it. But it's hard to prove dog fighting in certain circumstances. So this isn't just sometimes individual actions between a person being abusive and cruel to an animal. This can be groups of people and groups of animals. And frankly, our laws just aren't there to respond to these situations. And so it seems to me, and I believe to this House, since we've passed this bill multiple times, that as long as we are sure that intent has to be proven, the act has to be proven, that removing serious so that you don't have to have dead animal to make your case is just the right thing to do. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, would the sponsor yield?
Will the sponsor yield?
Yes.
The sponsor continues to yield.
Through you, Mr. President, first let me say that I'm glad to have listened to Senator Krueger put those comments into the record, Mr. President. I agree with everything that she believes and has said about this legislation. In fact, once again, I will be supporting this legislation. I just have two more questions. The conduct covered by this legislation, through you, Mr. President, Senator Krueger, would you describe that as a violent crime?
Yes, I do think that that would be a violent crime. My counsel has advised me under the penal law, it is not literally a violent crime.
Would the sponsor yield?
Does the sponsor continue to yield?
Yes, I will.
The sponsor will yield.
So through you, Mr. President, your learned counsel is correct. So let me pose the question a different way. Not legally under New York's penal law, but would you consider the conduct that we've been talking about to be violent?
Not as a legal statement, but as a observational, do I define these types of crimes as violent? Yes, I do.
Mr. President, would the sponsor yield for one more question?
Does the sponsor yield?
Yes.
The sponsor will yield.
Through you, Mr. President, given that fact, and also given that under the bail reform laws, that this person arrested and accused of the types of crimes that we're talking about here that would be covered by this legislation would not be eligible for bail. Would you consider, as I know your conference has added some crimes to those that are now eligible for bail, would you consider adding this to that list?
So I do believe that I understand the question. If the law in the state of New York was that this animal cruelty and abuse was defined as violent under the law, it would fall under violent felonies, which would change the rules about parole and probation. And I am open to having further discussion with my colleague. I don't know if that is a bill that this House would be open to taking up or not.
Mr. President, on the bill.
Senator Lanza on the bill.
Mr. President, first I want to thank Senator Krueger, not just for this discussion, but for putting this bill before us. This is a very good bill. The things that she described, I think, touch all of us. And as a society, certainly there is no place for the types of actions and conduct and abuse and cruelty to our pets and to animals. And so I will be supporting this legislation. And I am going to accept Senator Krueger's offer to continue to discuss the bail issue with regard to this legislation, and I thank her for that as well. When it comes time to vote, Mr. President, I'll be voting in the affirmative.
Are there any other senators wishing to be heard? Seeing and hearing none, debate is closed. The secretary will ring the bell. Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Krueger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 734, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Brisport and Myrie. Ayes 61, nays 2.
The bill is passed. Senator Gianaris, that completes the reading of the controversial calendar.
Mr. President, returning to motions for a second on behalf of Senator Skoufis on page 18, I offer the following amendments to calendar 301, Senate 1878, and ask that said bill retain its place on third reading calendar.
The amendments are received, and the bill will retain its place on the third reading calendar.
Is there any further business at the desk?
There is no further business at the desk.
Move to adjourn until Monday, May 10th at 3 p.m., intervening days being legislative days.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Monday, May 10th at 3 p.m., intervening days being legislative.